Hi everyone, it's me again, Alan from ABTS Training Services in London, England. Um, this is a request video. I'm getting still, which is nice to see, I'm still getting lots of emails and lots of comments on YouTube and Alan, can you explain what TEU means? Can you explain what HWB means? Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this abbreviations in international trade. That sounds good, doesn't it? Abbreviations in international trade. Okay, and I'm just going to run through a list. Now, it's going to be very brief. I'm not going to go into great detail on each one. I'm just giving you an explanation of each of the phrases we're going to use. And I'm going to start off with the easy one, so to speak. What is BL? What does BL stand for? Bill of lading. Bill of lading. What does HAWB stand for? House Airway Bill, an airway bill issued by a consolidator. MAWB, a master airway bill issued by the carrying airline. Okay, going into sea freight, what is a TEU? I always think it's a weird definition, but a TEU is a 20-foot container and it's a 20-foot equivalent unit. I don't know why they don't say 20 foot, but there you go. TEU is a 20-foot container, 2 TEUs is a 40-foot container. Okay. Sticking with containers, what's FCL? FCL stands for full container load. That's when a shipper utilizes the full capacity of a container. LCL, less than a container load. This ain't rocket science, is it? LCL, less than a container load. In other words, when you just have a small parcel and you're not going to go FCL because of the cost, you co-load with maybe 30 other people. So you would say to a shipping line, may I have an FCL rate or may I have an LCL rate, depending on the cargo and the volume of the cargo you have. CAF, C-A-F, CAF, currency adjustment factor. This could be in a quote. You could get a quote for a 20-foot container and it might say 1,400 US dollars plus 4% CAF. CAF is, as I said, a currency adjustment factor. Now, I'm not going to go into the wheres and whyfores of it here because it's just abbreviations, but I will just give you a kind of a clue. And it's very basic definition. A shipping line will cost their voyage. It's called a voyage estimate. And they will boil it down to how much it costs them for a container. So they put their profit on top, and that's what they sell it to you for. And that's just US dollars. We'll use US dollars. So they actually charge you $2,000 for the container in the quote. But when they actually ship and they charge you $200 for the quote, the rate of exchange is different. Now, I'm being very brief here. Rate of exchange. So to make up for a potential loss, they put currency adjustment factor. So the shipping line never loses. BAF, bunker adjustment factor. The shipping line buys bunkerage or oil at a price per barrel. They cost for it at price per barrel. And accordingly, they charge you for your container based on that and other cost factors. But when they physically buy the oil, it's costing more than they estimated. So they never lose again. You have to pay the difference, the potential loss. It's not a loss to them, it's a potential loss because they charge you bunker adjustment factor, CAF, currency adjustment factor, BAF, bunker adjustment factor. So it's not unusual to get a quote. It'll say plus 4% CAF, plus 5% BAF. Now you know. Currency adjustment, bunker of fuel. Bunkerage is an old-fashioned word for fuel. Okay. Now, also, I've been asked about various formulas and the phraseology. Like when a shipping line, you ask for an LCL quote, less than a container load. You've just got one pallet with 5 boxes of tinned fruit. So you're going LCL. You're co-sharing that container with lots of other companies. Okay. Now, they will just say to you something like, this is from the top of my head, $89 WM with a minimum of $240. So people kind of go, what's he talking about? WM. What the shipping line is saying to you, we're going to charge you whatever it was, $58 weight per 1,000 kilos or M per cubic meter. So you have to work out, what do I have in this? Do I have 4,000 kilos and 1 cubic meter? So it'd be 4 multiplied by. So that's what they're saying. And as I say, I'm not going to go in great detail here. If you want me to do it, I'd be only too happy on another video. Okay, it's just the phraseology we're talking about here. WM, weight measure. And if your consignment of a pallet of tinned fruit doesn't weigh a ton or it doesn't weigh a cubic meter, they have the minimum. So they'll say $59 WM, minimum $125. Okay, so that's LCL. Let's switch over to air freight. Okay. Air freight generally is worked on per kilo. Very easy, very straightforward. You ring your freight forwarder. I've got 85 kilos to Buenos Aires. How much is it? And you say, £2.20 or $3.40 or whatever per kilo. End of story. Okay, but on an airway bill, either a master or a house, which we just discussed, you will see actual weight, chargeable weight. What's going on here? Actual weight, chargeable weight. So it could be that you are being charged. Well, let's put it this way, and I always use this. If you send by air freight a massive box of feathers, a bit silly, but come on, a big, huge, massive box of feathers, and it's $2.50 a kilo, and they put the massive box of feathers on a weighing scale, and it's only 8 kilos, and it's $2 a kilo, $16, but it's taking half the capacity of the cargo on the airline. So the airline is losing massive amounts of money because you have this stupid big box taking up room. In other words, no other cargo can get in there, and it's full of feathers. So the airline would hate you, putting it mildly. They would not like you. So they have a formula. And what they say is actual weight or volume metric. So they say you get the cargo and you weigh it, 80 kilos. And then you might do a double test. And you say, but we will charge you $80 a kilo, or if it comes out as volumetric. And volumetric is an IATA formula which says 6,000 cubic centimeters. Now, some of you at this stage will groan and they say, Alan is wrong. It's 5,000 cubic centimeters. So it depends. So I'm going to use 6,000. Let's not get too academic here. So 6,000, the formula is 6,000 cubic centimeters equals 1 kilo. So that is called the volumetric formula for air freight. If anybody wants me to go into this in great detail and do a video on volumetric and FCL, etc., I'd be only too happy to do it, but that's not the reason why we're doing this video. I'm just giving you abbreviations, as I keep on saying. Okay, so there we go. Now, going into finance, I'm often asked, what does TT mean in finance? Very, very simple. TT stands for telegraphic transfer. And it's a generic name for moving money between banks electronically. And we all do it every day. When we're sending away from something, we just go on the phone and we transfer the money out of our bank account. TT, telegraphic transfer. Okay. I'm asked, what's LC? Letter of credit. Actually, we do a course on letters of credit. Letter of credit. Now, here's one that some people ask me, I've never heard of this before, Alan. Can you explain? FIFO. F-I-F-O. Weird name, FIFO. First in, first out. Now, it can be used in a non-international trade context of stock control, but we're not going there. I should say free in, free out, not first in, first out. Excuse my old brain here. First, free in, free out. It means, and it's usually used when you are shipping goods on a charter vessel. You're chartering the whole vessel. And when you charter a vessel, you pay for the whole vessel. You pay for the vessel to go from A to B. Okay. But how about loading that vessel and unloading it at the port of destination? The charter agreement usually says it's FIFO. Free in, free out. So it's saying in essence, the shipper pays for the loading and the shipper pays for the unloading. It's not included in the freight rate. Which leads us to liner terms. You'll see that expression. What's liner terms? Liner terms means the opposite. Liner terms is if a shipping line says to you for a 20-foot box, $4,800 liner terms. It's saying that includes loading and unloading and the sea freight. Liner terms. The opposite to that would be FIFO. I hope that's okay. And THC stands for Terminal Handling Charges. A terminal or a dock or a port. When you go into a port with your cargo, just think about it. That port is employing people, cranes, forklift trucks, computer systems to make sure everything is going where it should go. Who's paying for that? The port owner. But they defray the costs by charging you a fee to bring your cargo in, to put it on the docks, not to load and unload, because that's in liner terms, right? Just as a matter of interest, a lot of people are caught out in this. They will be shipping liner terms, and some unscrupulous freight forwarder will charge them loading costs. Go take a hike. This is liner terms, which includes it. Getting back to terminal handling charges, it's like parking your car in a car park. You pay. You pay for an hour, 2 hours. Okay, it's not a car, it's a container. That container goes in and it sits down in a port on a dock side. And people are running around, picking it up, moving it here, booking it in on a computer, etc., etc., etc. Somebody's got to pay for that. You do. You do by being charged THC's, terminal handling charges. Okay, now I had a request from one of my few viewers. I had a request from, and excuse my ignorance on names, assuming it was a gentleman called Jaspal, Jaspal. And Jaspal wrote to me and he said, "Hey, Alan, can you explain to me Chief, C88? And can you explain to me an ATA?" What he didn't say was an ATA Carnet, an ATA. So for all of you, and in particular for Jaspal, which I didn't answer. In fact, I kept it for this video. So let's start off with Chief. Chief is an acronym. And as you all know, an acronym is a name made out of other names. Chief is Customs Handling, CH, of Import and Export Freight, CHIEF. Customs Handling of Import and Export Freight. I'll be very brief with this because Chief is on its way out. It's a UK invention, a computerized system in which clearing agents use to tell customs or to make a manifest of what they're bringing in on my behalf. So I'm a clearing agent. You ring me up and say, "Alan, we've got a container full of children's clothing coming in from Vietnam on the city of Peru." The city of Lima. "Can you clear it through customs for us, please?" I would go onto my computer and I would open Chief. And I would make my entry on Chief. And I would make it on a document online. And Jaspal, this is your second question, on a form called a C88. So Jaspal, a Chief is an acronym for Customs Handling of Import and Export Freight, which is a computerized system to make customs import entries. C88 is the document which appears, the blank document which appears online, and I've got to complete it and send it off to customs. C88. And just to make it more ridiculous, Jaspal, the C88 is part of a bigger document called the SAD document. Would you believe it? The SAD document. Single Administrative Document. So there you go. There you go. So you know now what Chief and C88 is. Now, the other question you asked me, Jaspal, was, what's an ATA? In fact, it's ATA Carnet. I'm showing off there, Jaspal. It's an ATA Carnet. Okay, tell you what it is. Stop and think about this. Like, I'm into Formula One. I like watching Formula One. And let's say Aston Martin. Formula One, based in the UK, and they are going to Italy for the Italian Grand Prix. Now, did you ever stop to think about this? They've to bring air freight over, the cars, the spares, all their equipment, all their equipment has to go over to the pits at that Grand Prix. They have to go through Italian customs, right? Now, Aston Martin ain't going to pay import duty on all their goods going for the Grand Prix, because some of them could be destroyed, hopefully not, but some of them could be destroyed, but they're only bringing them there, and then they bring them back to base in the UK. So instead of paying import duty on them, they have what is known as a Carnet. And the Carnet is a document where they list everything they are bringing to the Grand Prix. They pay a deposit, a refundable deposit. These carnets are usually issued by authorised chambers of commerce. In my case, I used to get them from the London Chamber of Commerce. There's a bit of free advertising for your London Chamber of Commerce. And when they arrive at the Italian border, they show this carnet, which is a huge list. It could be 20 pages long in their case. So many cars, so many tires, so many this, so many that, so many this. And they're stamped in. When they come back from the Grand Prix, they are stamped out. So as long as they bring back what they brought in or prove they were destroyed, they bring them back, so there's no duty paid. I hope I explained that. Now, TV crews use it all the time, bringing equipment when they're on consignment. There's approximately, from memory, which is fading, but from memory, there's 84 countries that are in the Carnet regime. Look it up. Look it up. You find it. How many countries in the ATA are? What are the name of the countries in there? I know Australia, Japan, USA are members as well. It's used by TV crews. I'm just giving you an example. It's used by tradesmen going with the tools of their trade. They don't want to pay import duty. So they get a carnet. They show the carnet in the country they're going into. It's stamped. And they show the carnet when the goods are come up. It's stamped. And when they go back to the country, they hand the double stamped carnet to the issuing party and they get their deposit back. If you don't bring everything back and it's not destroyed, you have to pay import duty. Okay. And, talking about, I'm an oldie, as you can see, and, I wouldn't say one of my favorite groups, but I kind of follow the Stones, the Rolling Stones. And, these guys, I think they wind up in wheelchairs going around the world. You read about they're in Brazil and they're here and they're there, all of that. Stop and think. They don't need carnets. I think they need health certificates. But their equipment, think of all the equipment they bring with them, the technicians they bring with them. All that equipment could be, I'm just saying this, stored in the UK. And when they decide they want to go out and make another £20 million, they have to get all that equipment over there and then bring it back in Carnet. So next time you see them in concert and you see all the sound systems, you can sit there and say, Carnet. Anyway, that's it, folks. That's it. It was just abbreviations. That's all. Just abbreviations. I hope it helped you, and I hope it unraveled the mystery of abbreviations. As usual, I always say this: if you have any requests for particular videos on any subject, please let me know. And if you thought I've helped you in any way with this video, please let me know as well. Any suggestions? Except stop making videos, Alan. So there you go. Abbreviations. I leave you here. All the best to all of you, and I'm looking forward to helping you along on another video, which if I don't get a request for, I'll make up one myself. Okay, so from me to you, goodbye.